It's love, Gaara.
It's love.
Yep.
But how am I supposed to get it?
Above anything else, love must be selfless. Love is protection. Love is caring for someone else before caring for oneself. Love is healing. Love is growth. Love is acceptance. The Gaara that emerges by the end of Naruto is a character we watched evolve, and it was an evolution that was so close to many hearts. This was because of everything that led Gaara up to that point in the end. Here is Gaara's story. Born as the Jinchuriki holding the one-tailed sand spirit, Shukaku, inside of him, Gaara of the desert is the little brother to Kankuro and Temari, and son of the now fallen fourth Kazekage, master of gold dust, Rasa. Gaara's childhood was much like Naruto's, both born as Jinchuriki whose parents seal-tailed beasts inside of them. They were ostracized by their villages, seen as inhuman and treated as such. Though the one difference between Naruto and Gaara was Yashamaru and Iruka-sensei. Gaara of the Sand would experience hurt and pain, but Yashamaru, his maternal uncle, was the one figure who would give Gaara hope in the world, the one person who gave him a sense of what love was, furthermore, the one person who could reassure the boy about his mother's love. Yashamaru taught Gaara that love was selfless and protecting, much like the sand that protected his body, and he believed for a short while that his sand was his mother's parting gift, that could protect him and love him like she would have. But the other members and kids of the sand still treated Gaara as a monster, running away in fear each time he would even look at them, and when Gaara reached his breaking point, he was attacked by a sand shinobi, who turned out to be Yashamaru. Yashamaru was instrumental in breaking Gaara. He was sent by Rasa and the Suna Council to kill Gaara. Yashamaru, though, went further. He broke Gaara's spirit before telling him that he volunteered to kill him. And he would also tell him that he hated Gaara for killing his sister. Furthermore, he tells Gaara that his mother didn't love him, and as proof she named him Gaara, the one who only loves himself. This aggression by Yashamaru was asked of him by Rasa to provoke the Jinchuriki and then to gauge his reaction. And Gaara, after realizing he had just lost the one person who cared about him and the one person who loved him, would now experience true hate as he fully transformed into Shukaku for the first time. Gaara of the Sand was a kind and loving kid, only wanting the best for those around him. And though he was consistently pushed aside by the villagers, he could always count on Yashamaru, wanting the best for his uncle as well. But when he lost Yashamaru, Gaara would come to understand that the sand that protected him was not his mother's protection. It was a manifestation of his mother's hate and the will of the sand spirit. Gaara tattooed the kanji of love over his left eye as a visual reminder of his purpose, of his being. Gaara loves only himself. He harbored such a passionate hate for the world that manifested into a primal desire to kill. Gaara felt nothing but rage and hate, and he was fueled by it, believing that it was his purpose to kill everyone, and that it brought him joy. A conclusion created out of loneliness. When the Sand planned their attack on the Leaf Village, Gaara was pivotal to their plan, but his encounter with the shinobi of the Leaf, the way he saw Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura protect each other, began to trigger memories of his childhood. When they run away from him, this also triggers some more negative memories. Though the Jinchuriki alludes to all their ties as weakness, he specifically challenges Naruto by telling him that through these bonds he will never achieve true strength, that these bonds hold him back. But through Naruto's unrelenting will and his compassion for the fellow Jinchuriki, he would defeat Gaara. Gaara was made as the foil to Naruto. Another example of what would happen if Naruto had nobody. Both Jinchuriki were alienated by their comrades so they can understand each other's pain and loneliness. But where they differ is that Naruto had Iruka, followed by Kakashi, Jiraiya, Sasuke, Sakura, and all those other friends he made up to this point. But Gaara only had himself. Everyone from his village only accepted him to use him as a weapon. And those moments in solitude would give Gaara too much time to reflect on himself and on his purpose. What Naruto was quick to understand is that having peers, comrades, and friends, people who care about you and you for them, is what brings your life light. That is love. Gaara was just Naruto without love and without light. Gaara searched for belonging, for purpose. Gaara yearned to be needed and to be loved. Through the help of Naruto, he would learn what he could be with those things. He learned that fighting for others and not oneself is true strength, and it takes true courage. Following the time skip, Gaara had an important discussion with his brother Kankuro. He told his brother that he had a desire to be needed by someone, and not seen as a weapon, which is why he wanted to be and would ultimately become the Kazekage. Though Gaara would try to prove himself to his doubters, as he was still young and the memories of his destructive childhood were still fresh in the Sand Village's mind. At the hands of Akatsuki member Deidara, Gaara lost his life protecting his village, but Lady Chiyo sacrificed her own to bring back the now former Jinchuriki. It was truly during Gaara's awakening where all the shinobi from the sand and a few from the leaf waited for him to awaken, and his entire village eagerly awaited the return of their leader. That is when he would learn that his presence, his protection, and his kind heart were truly needed, and Naruto once again was the driving force. But Gaara still had a hole in his heart regarding his mother. During the 4th Ninja War, the 4th Kazekage was resurrected, and Gaara would be the only shinobi capable of taking his father down. In that initial interaction, Rasa saw his son, who was now grown. Rasa saw this moment as a second chance. Rasa knew he had failed his son, and he tells him this with immense regret. Rasa apologizes and would inform his son that his mother in fact did love him, and her dying wish was that she would protect him. Was in fact the truest manifestation of her love. And at that moment, Gaara for the first time broke down. Naruto, loved by his village, and he was loved by the one person that he felt directly responsible for. His mother, who he was told hated his existence. He was told that she ensured his suffering. And Gaara cried tears of joy. Maru told Gaara that only one thing could heal a wound to the heart, and that was love. So I think Gaara's heart was finally healed. Gaara's purpose is to be a protector to the sand. To feel hate, but to forgive. Gaara's childhood was one of darkness and of malice. He was alone and alienated, and Yashamaru, who was just following orders, took his heart, made him feel so alone until one person. So, what is love? Love is forgiveness. Love is unrelenting. Love brings calm to a raging heart, and a mother's love is the most powerful. Love is patient and love is compassion. Love is warm. In order for Gaara to be complete, was worthy of love. So to Gaara, love means and love is everything.
He cried for me. I was his enemy, yet still he cried for me. And he called me his friend, even though we had battled.